Hey guys, what's up? It's just Connor here. I hope you're having an amazing day as per usual. Now, in today's video, we're going to be discussing a question that a student asked me just in yesterday's call, which you probably see in the title, but I'm going to explain that here in a second. But first, I wanted to show you where I'm at. So at the moment, I just went to go see one of my really good friends, Mason. You probably would have seen a podcast from us last week posted on the YouTube channel. Went to go see him play in Prague at one of the biggest clubs in Europe, which was super, super cool. And I just went from Prague to, as you can see, Dubai, which I wanted to show you just now. So let me take a step outside and try not fall off the building because I am on the 19th floor. I think it's the second highest. But look at this. Absolutely crazy. Um, Anyways, I thought I'd show you that because it's pretty crazy to think that little old boy from Tasmania, a small country town island, sort of thing that's separated from Australia, has made it so far to here. I was actually talking to one of my friends about that today. But, anyways, life updates aside, what this video is going to be about, I was asked a question yesterday in a community call about, Connor, how do I learn a new sales process? How do I get good fast at sales? Well, we all know you can't get good fast at sales, but what you can do is you can improve the systems of processes to make you efficient a lot faster. And there's definitely a way to go about it, right? So I thought I gave a really good answer in this Zoom call recording, in this coaching call. So I thought I'd come and post it here on the YouTube channel because I thought that a lot of you guys would find that valuable. So anyways, hope you're having an amazing day as per usual. You guys know the drill. And I'll see you in the recording.
I can. Yeah.
Brilliant, perfect. So it's been about a week in my new role, and
Mm,
I've properly started dialing for a first full day on Monday, and I got
mm.
one above my KPI in setting, and that's been all going good. Uh, Working hard on that. I'm just wondering what's the quickest way for me to memorize the entire script in a way that's like not just blank memorization and is actually like understanding, so I can like
Mm.
deliver it better.
Great question, my friend. Great question. So you need to start like understanding it and then memorizing it. So for all of your sales processes, you need to understand that there is a set amount of objectives that you want to achieve in each sales process. Okay. So every sales process has phases, right? It has different phases with different objectives that you are trying to achieve in a given sales dialogue, right? For example, I am in my roadblock phase in my sales process that I teach me and my guys and that I've developed is I want to find out what's the problem, what's causing it, how long has it been going on, and what impact is it having professionally or personally. I know each objective of each phase that I'm trying to sell through like the back of my hand, almost unconscious conscious at this point. You can whack me in the chest at 3 a.m. and you're like, Connor, what are the three main objectives you're trying to achieve in X, Y, and Z phase? I'm like, bang, 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 bang. That's how we need to know these things. So, first step to all this is again, mapping out objectives and breaking your sales process down into certain phases. So they're much more digestible. You can understand where you are because otherwise, what tends to happen is I got to say, I got a one-on-one coaching call with an agency owner tomorrow who's stuck at 10, 12K per month. He's struggling with sales. And he said to me, oh, I don't know why I'm not making sales. And I was like, send me your structure. He said, I don't have one. I'm like, okay, so there's a reason why you don't make sales because you don't have a structure. You're going off loose things that you're trying to achieve. And so I watched the first call that he sent me and it was very representative of that. He doesn't know where he's going and he doesn't understand what he's doing or why he's saying what he's saying, right? So first things first is map out your entire sales process, put it into phases, and basically figure out what are the objectives you're trying to achieve in your given sales process, right? That's the first step. The second step is then going through each individual question in your sales process and ask yourself, why are you asking that question? That's it. So why are you asking that question? What's the intention or purpose of you asking this question? And you'll find, depending on the sales process and how well vetted it is, you will go, well, I don't really know why I asked that question. I don't know whether or not that answer is actually productive or not to the sales conversation based off what I'm trying to achieve within this phase. So for example, in what I would call the desired state phase in my sales process, I have a few boxes that I'm looking to tick. So number one, I'm trying to stretch the gap. So it's not an answer, but I'm just trying to, in the prospect's mind, stretch the gap between where they are now and where they want to be. The next thing I want to find out is what have they tried in the past? So I want to find out whether or not I'm going to get I've been burned in the past objection later on. The next thing I want to find out is their ideal solution. What does their ideal criteria of what they're looking for actually look like so I can pitch it and present it back to them? What are the emotional and logical tie downs to the goal, right? So that's logical or logistical is like cars, travel, rah, rah, rah. Emotion, I would feel better. I would feel more happy.
Mm.
And then I think that's pretty much it. So those objectives I'm trying to achieve. Every question that I ask needs to be achieving one of those set objectives. If I'm not achieving any of those objectives, then that would qualify to me as interesting sales conversation. So
Mm.
not productive conversation, not going to move the needle forward. It's just interesting.
Mm.
A big thing that extends a lot of people's sales calls and their sales conversation is they have what's called interesting sales dialogue versus productive. And so productive sales conversation is just aligned to what you've mapped out in your sales process and whether or not it aligns to objectives you're trying to achieve or not. Right? That's how you get rid of the confusion or concern if what you're saying, if what the prospect is saying in the sales call is actually going to move the needle forward.
Okay.
So objectives, so mapping out objectives and phases, and why are you asking each question in your sales process? So you can find out whether or not it's actually moving the needle forward, interesting versus productive sales conversation. And then third, to finally map out and memorize the scripting, once you've mapped out the whole process, is I would literally print out all of your questions that have already been vetted by your phases and why you're asking them and whether or not they're important. Then I would print out your entire script, and all I would do is practice those lines, the stuttering, the cadence, the toning, the pronouns, what am I saying? The cadence, the tonality, the pausing, everything. I would practice all of those as if I was an actor, right? So one of my mentors, Jeremy Miner, kind of popularized this concept for me, is as a salesperson, you are an actor in my belief, right? You have a process that you're running someone through to get them to self-persuade themselves or convince themselves as to why they need to change or do something. That's what sales is, right? You're getting someone to change from where they are now to where they want to go and change their way of doing things or their current process. So it's to the point now where I unconsciously have burned the process and the scripting inside of my mind where I can sell anything that I want at the drop of a hat. So I not only understand the stuff that we talked about before, so the objectives and phases and how to sell and that type of stuff, I know why I'm asking each question. So my sales process is applicable to anything that catches people in what you would call a solution awareness state in the marketing process. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about there, Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising, even just don't even have to read the book. YouTube video explains how marketing works and aligns with sales super, super well. And it's definitely my favorite for understanding how sales and marketing relationship kind of combine together. If I'm selling people at a solution aware state in the buying cycle, this is the sales process that works really, really well for those people. And so again, being able to practice all your stutters and everything so that you can rattle off the script pretty much unconsciously without having to think about it or looking at it. You should, during a call still, I still look at scripts in general, just so I don't get lost and say things that I maybe shouldn't say and get off path. However, if you wanted me to go through my entire sales process now without even looking at it, I definitely could, and pretty much word for word. And this is probably also, again, if you can find people that you can model on the sales team that already do very, very well, this is for everyone. If you're on an offer where you find people who are already selling the top performer, you can get access to their sales calls, practice their body language, their pausing, their tonality, what they're doing is working and has clearly got them to the top of the leaderboard and is making them money. So what I would do is I'd practice their facial expressions, their body language, their pausing, their tone, everything. And so from my example of who I copied and who I modeled, is one of my mentors, Jeremy. And so what I did is, in one of the mentorships I had with him, it was one-on-one. So I would go through and ask what each individual question meant and why I was doing it. And then I'd also ask him to repeat it to me so I could practice the tonality, perfect it, take it to him, and then get him to verify whether or not it was perfect or not. Because he had every question dialed down to a science. Even the pausing and emphasis on certain words was extremely important. So that's the way that I dial it down to. If I was really, really trying to master the process, I would, yeah, again, print out the pages, pace back and forth wherever I am, and I'd go back and forth and practice it and practice it, practice it till it came off right, it sounded right, and pretty much it was ultimately burned in my brain. So again, these days, I can roll out of bed at 6 a.m. in the morning, 30 seconds before a call, just run through the process. So that's pretty much how I probably memorize it the best way, my man.